Welcome to the Authority Files.
Welcome back to the Authority Files. Today we are going to be diving into some more Reddit stories. So let's get reading. Okay, this one is advice on getting clients. So it's not really a story as much as looking for advice. So let's see. After a year of practicing at a large firm, I am making the jump to go solo. The time is near, so the reality is setting in that I am about to wake up one morning with 0 clients and no income. Googling local criminal attorneys and different keyword variations returns so many attorneys, it's crazy. I live in a high population area, so the market is saturated. I have a website, I'm paying for Google ads, but so is everyone else. Not getting much yet out of Google. Made a professional account on Instagram, but haven't really had time to put much effort into it because I'm still working full time. Considering making a TikTok, but I'm not the most social media savvy. I know there's no such thing as overnight success with this, but I foresee an issue with getting clients. I'm thinking that with time and a combination of getting on the court-appointed list, if I'm lucky, and online advertising, I will at least get a few clients here and there. The problem with criminal clients is that most are full of blank, broke hustlers, etc. My fear is that in 3 to 4 months, I still won't have a single client. Any advice? So this is a problem that I actually see a lot with attorneys. For those of you who don't know exactly what I do outside of this, I run a podcasting company, and one of the things that we do is help attorneys develop business podcasts. What this person is saying over here, that they Google and it returns so many attorneys, it's crazy, and that the market is saturated. So that is so common from what I see working with attorneys. And it's the thing that I hear from attorneys themselves, and it's things that I hear from potential clients. So the market is saturated. Attorneys are a dime a dozen if you're just Googling or trying to, see who you're looking for, how to find one. You see billboards, you see the bus benches, you see the sides of the buses, there's radio commercials, television commercials. There is social media that people have, and you Google on there and find law firms that way. One of the problems that gives for people who are looking for clients is that it actually tells them nothing about you as an attorney. I see the billboards, I hear the commercials, and so does everybody else who is a non-lawyer. And all we get out of that is what your firm's name is, what kind of law you practice, and a picture of you. And aside of that, we know nothing. And that's pretty much what happens with commercials too, because you're having a typical marketing commercial script, and all it's really saying is that, come to us, we help our clients, we want to get the most for you. And most of the time, those kinds of commercials are really for like personal injury or criminal law, but that's it. They're very generic. They don't actually tell anybody really anything about you other than you've been in court, you are a trial lawyer, and you've won X amount of money in your cases. Will come to us, we'll get you out of your criminal issue. When it comes to things like family law, you'll see the billboards up there, and again, gives us the name, gives us a picture, words up there that say divorce, child custody, things like that. And what does that tell anybody? Nothing. So when people are Googling, you do seem like a dime a dozen. When they're going onto your social media, most of the content that is on social media is being put on very generically. Maybe you get a little office picture here and there or whatever, but most of the time, they're generic quote graphics or generic just static posts that give a tip in branded colors and things like that. Something along those lines. Again, tips are great, but when I'm really actively looking to have an attorney, I need to know who I'm getting. And the ones of us that are non-attorneys looking for attorneys, most of the time, we're trying to find someone when we are at a very vulnerable point in our lives. That means that we want to know who you are as a person. How do you make decisions? How do you deal with conflict? How do you think? What are your values? Do they align with mine? And that's the kind of things we're looking for. I mean, I can tell you recently, just even a few months ago, we were looking for an attorney that would do medical malpractice or medical negligence, something along those lines. And the first thing we're all like, well, who do we call? Well, the first thing anybody tells you when you start looking and asking for referrals or anything is, and I'm not going to say the name of this firm because I don't want to give them extra publicity, but they are essentially the largest firm on the entire East Coast of the United States. And everybody says their name because that's just the name that everybody knows. Just, they have this massive marketing budget that allows them to have billboards on every corner. The commercials are every time that you have it on the TV or you're listening to the radio, the commercials are there. So everybody knows the name. They've been a very successful law firm. But there's been a lot of people that, sometimes they work well with them, sometimes they don't. But how does a small to medium firm compete with a law firm that has that kind of marketing budget? How does a small solo law firm compete with the saturated market of all of the other attorneys? I don't even live in a place that has a high population area. I mean, I do to a degree. We're not rural by any means anymore, but we're not New York City either. So, and even with that, every street corner has multiple law offices. I go to Google attorneys in my area and it is a just plethora list of names. None of them mean anything to me because I don't know who they are. So if you're wanting to know how to compete with these people that have these huge marketing budgets, if you're wanting to compete with the oversaturated market in your areas, my suggestion is to have a podcast. And I'm not just saying that because it's what I do. I do it because it's what I believe. And that allows you to start building networks. It allows you to start having, depending on, because every practice area has a different need, whether it is they need to build their referral network, they need to build credibility or authority, or them can identify who they want to work with, others can't, like marital law, criminal law, personal injury, things like that. You don't know who your potential clients are going to be until they actually need you. So you can't really get in front of your ideal clients that way, but other people that do intellectual property, business law, things like that, immigration law, certain ones like that can find their potential clients ahead of time because they're more like companies, things like that, clients like that. But what do you do when you can't get in front of your ideal client? Well, one of the things that we do is we focus on the guests. We want to sit there and have people on who could be referral partners, who could be part of your referral team, a power team. So if you're personal injury, you're looking at people who might be chiropractors, physical therapists, doctors, tow truck companies, anybody who happens to be in touch with your potential client before you are, and have them on, talk about what they do, talk about what they see, talk about how you guys work together, how as a team you guys work to help people who are in need of your services. And as you do that, you're building a network. And then when people are coming and somebody has had a crash and they're like, I need an attorney, I don't know who I'm going to go to. Maybe that's something they think of at that moment. Maybe they think of it when they're trying to deal with their car. And I'm just giving examples. Obviously, this is so many different practices or needs at the time can arise. I'm just using crashes because it's something that happens a lot. But maybe it's a body shop, maybe, things like that. And they're talking, they're like, I need an attorney. Do you guys know of an attorney? A lot of times the answers are no, or they just throw the biggest name out there that they happen to know about. If you have had a podcast and you have had these people on there, you've made them feel good about their time on there, you gave them a good experience. Now they like you. Now they know that, hey, this seems like a pretty cool person. Yeah, you need an attorney? Sure. Yeah, there's this one guy over here. I've talked with him. I think he's really great. I think he's got some good values, pretty, reliable. Maybe you should talk to him. Now you have a way of building a referral network that you can start to compete with those big names. Now you're building a network that is people who know you, who have talked with you, you have gotten to like you, and now you're building referrals. They're going to refer you because they like you before they refer the big name on the billboard. And they feel like they can vouch for you more. That's why they're going to refer you. So there's big ways like that to be able to use a podcast to your advantage and be able to compete You can also build your authority with podcasts, but to, have this stuff sitting on your website, have these where it's going out into your emails or your newsletters or other things like that to potential clients, old clients, referral partners, things along those lines. So having a podcast, I think, and building a solid referral network with it, I think does as much or more good than investing into Google Ads, posting on TikTok or Instagram all the time. So with our clients, we take their podcasts, we edit their podcasts. They don't have to do anything after they finish recording except maintain the relationship that they had started to build with the guest. But after that, we do all of their post-production for them. We write show notes so they have like a blog that they can have onto their post, or I'm sorry, their website as well. And we cut things up into smaller shorts. We can do static posts, graphic posts, but the difference with our social media that we're posting for our clients is that it's actually in their voice. It's actually the things they've said. It's not generic marketing. It's not the same thing that every other firm is posting, just in different brand colors and font. So I think that that's one of the big differences. Now, when people are seeing your social media content, when they are coming across it, they're seeing you. They're not seeing your marketer. So that's my suggestion. Just food for thought for anybody. Like I said, this is what we do at Cypress Media Productions, which is my company. And that's kind of, that's the direction that we put people into. And it works across multiple fields of business. We work a lot with attorneys. That's one reason why I'm so interested in attorney stories. And I like to do these things and stuff like that. I find the field very fascinating. So anyhow, that is my suggestion there. If anybody has questions on that, you guys are more than welcome to message us, message me, email me, leave comments below, ask your questions. But yeah, it's definitely the way that small, medium, solo firms compete with the big major firms. And it's also the way that they stand out as having something different than every other attorney that's in this saturated market in your area. So that is my suggestion on that. Okay, well, if you guys want more content on Reddit stories, if you want to hear more suggestions on things like podcasting for your company or for your practice, don't forget to subscribe and like and share. And yeah, we will be back again. Bye.